All right, guys, so in this video, I want to talk about, what do you do when you feel like either you failed or, I just don't know if I should continue this dream because it gets too hard. There's not enough residency spots, and I'm not an American grad, or I'm an American grad that didn't go to a top tier school, or I'm a DO, or went to a Caribbean school. And what do I do? What's some advice? And I get emails from people kind of asking this, and there's some people that I've kept in contact with for years now, and they didn't get the score that they wanted, and they're like, well, what can I do? So that's what this video focuses in on. And the first thing I would tell somebody is remember, this is number one is this is a process, this is a journey, and it's you versus you. And what I mean by that, if you're success or failure is determined on if I'm not a doctor, then it's all for naught. And I get that. That's what we're here for, and that's the end game. But if it's this all or none principle, you're going to burn yourself out day over day. And I stress this, that it's a you versus you competition, and it's a process, and that we should enjoy the process. Now you might say, hey, Dr. Neal, that's easy for you to say. You've made it. But again, I've said this over and over, and then it's very anticlimactic at this finish line. I probably had more fun in my life even doing things, even though I was studying, I was still doing things. I appreciate things more when I was going through the process. And so now, it's just so anticlimactic. What do I do? Spend a lot of my time making videos and doing more of the educational piece, because that's really where I got my where I got my enjoyment. But the message of this first part is to say it's you versus you. Get rid of the idea that you're competing against all your classmates. Everyone on those message boards that says they got I got a 250, I got a 260, or whatever it is on their scores, because it shouldn't matter. And that kind of rolls into the second element of this, of where I want you to really put your focus is. If you failed, okay, if you failed step one, failed step two, maybe you failed them both, you wouldn't be the first person that this has ever occurred to, or the first person. People have failed these tests, they get residency. They just bring an extra element, and I think I've stressed that before in different videos. And this extra element is, number one, retake the test, pass it, okay? You got to get through step three. If you have any fails on step one or two, make sure you take step three, plan ahead, take it, because you got to eliminate that you're an academic risk, okay? You got to put yourself in, you got to have the mindset, if you were that residency director, and I don't speak for any program, residency program, but at the end of the day, I can only imagine that even though they may say it's a communal vote and they may rank everybody, there needs to be one person that puts that list together and hits go on that computer for that residency program, and chances are it's going to be the residency director. So put yourself in their shoes. What are they looking for? And that rolls into the second piece of this is you have to come in there with something different. If I'm sitting there talking to somebody in an interview and I'm the residency director, I'm thinking, I already know people get high scores on this exam. I already know that you may be the smartest person. You may come from a prestigious school, but how are you going to make my program better? What are you going to bring to the table? And that's what you need to put in your personal statement, your letters of recommendation. All need to have that embedded of what you're going to bring to that program, and it's something different. When I was going through this, I had a teaching background. I was a school teacher, and I used that to my advantage. In the interviews, and it came out natural, but I could tell there was a response on their end, that there was something there, and that seemed to work, or it seemed to resonate with them, because a lot of, obviously, doctor means teacher, but the fact is I was open, and I even made a statement of I enjoy teaching. I enjoy teaching other students, and that's something that I'm going to bring to this program. Not only am I going to bring the hard work, dedication, I'm going to show up on time, and you don't have to worry about me mentality, but it's that teaching aspect that I'm going to bring to that program, and I carried through with that. That was my platform when I was chief resident, was to improve our didactics. And so I would challenge you to say, what are you going to bring to the table so that residency director can't pass you up? And when I mean can't pass you up, I mean they need to be ranking you to match. Because you come in with something like, if you want to go into internal medicine, and just think about this, most likely, if you're an IMG and you got any type of fails and stuff, you're looking at internal medicine, family medicine, something like that, something that has a lot of slots, unless you know somebody. So what would I do? I would maybe, and I'm a big YouTube teaching component person, is whatever specialty you want to get into, maybe create an evidence-based discussion, but make the videos short, make them engaging, but be consistent. Don't just do it the last month and then apply to residency, but start ahead of time, after you've passed step 1 and step 2. But maybe do an educational piece on evidence-based medicine, internal medicine, of what's the standard of care of DKA or something of, we should use this medication in this based on this, the literature. It supports this being the drug of choice, or have some rationale, but be consistent with it. Maybe do, the board certification test. If you're trying to get into psychiatry, maybe do something like what I'm doing, those short videos, but maybe create it toward your specialty. And it's like, well, wait a second, I'm not even in the specialty and you want me to teach board certification? Well, what I'm trying to say is, think of something that's going to bring something to the table that's of value. Everybody has board scores that either high or they passed. Everybody is going to give the speech of, I'm a good person, look at my references and all that stuff. But you need to be in a position to bring that extra. And maybe it's something different than academic. Maybe you, gosh, I don't know, even like a residency kind of mental health. I don't know, everything goes back to mental health, so I'm a psychiatrist. So, it just needs to be something, and I can't stress that enough. And we're all different. All our stories will be different. There's probably something in your background that led you to want to become a doctor that you can pull from that's going to create this thing moving forward. Or at least whatever idea that you have. And I just can't stress that enough. If I'm the director, that's what I'm looking for. So make it a you versus you. Put your mindset of what the director is looking for, where they can't pass you up. Pass all your exams, get step 3 out of the way if you have any fails, and look within you to see what is your creativity, what are you good at, and then translate that into something that's of value for that residency director. And again, when I interviewed, the teaching piece really kind of, I think, stood out. I came from the worst school. I guarantee you, whatever your school is, my school is 10 times worse. Academically, it just wasn't there. So I don't want to hear any excuses about my school is not good enough. I don't want to, I'm sure your board scores were higher than mine. Half the time I do these videos to keep myself up to speed so I don't lose this stuff. So I don't want to hear anything about board scores. I say you just continue moving forward and pass, and just don't quit. Have a positive attitude. Surround yourself with people that care about you, and just keep moving forward. I mean, that's what it's all about, guys. It's a journey, and I can't stress this enough, is just enjoy the process. So reach out to me if you have any questions or concerns. I'm around. I'll try to do my best making some videos for academic stuff. And if I can help in any way, just let me know.